This is episode 133, Avoiding the Law of Familiarity for Your Happiness. Welcome to Alive by Design. My name is Blake Mallon, and we're here to bring you inspiring people, principles, and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. Open your mind and let's dive in. Hey guys, before you listen to the podcast, I just want to drop in and say I appreciate you for being here, and I'm super excited about this new Walk With Me series. These are solo episodes where I take some time in the middle of my morning run through the Santa Monica Mountains to share some inspired ideas and thoughts on my mind and heart. If you want to join me for any of these conversations live, you can catch me many mornings on my Facebook page, facebook.com/blakemallon.page. Would love to see you there. Love you guys. Enjoy the episode. Walk with me. Value. That's such an interesting concept to me. Like, what does it mean to really, truly value something or someone? Like, where does value come from? What makes value go up? What makes value go down? How important is value in our life every day? So I just got back from Walla Walla, Washington. My younger sister got married this past weekend. It was an awesome experience. Walla Walla, a very different place than here in Los Angeles, West Side. It was so awesome to see family from both sides come together and have such an amazing time. It was on my sister's partner's family farm, and was so cool to see, just the serenity all around, something truly unique. Looking past the altar, endless fields of wheatgrass, blue mountains, so green. I can't get the visual of the green as it hit the completely just blue sky and the craziest clouds, like giant, thick, poofy white clouds. Like, we don't get those type of clouds. We have different clouds here in the Palisades. And such a fun ceremony. The reception in a barn. Had to move the combines and the tractors and just totally transform this environment into something just truly spectacular, and an awesome time had. And obviously I'm biased. It was my little sister. Such an important moment for her, our family, and was an honor that they asked me to officiate. So I got to officiate my sister's wedding. It was an awesome experience. And if you guys end up listening and watching this, thank you again for that honor and opportunity. And it's interesting because I obviously put some thought, some intention into the message I wanted to give. I've been thinking a lot about that concept of value. One of the main kind of themes of my officiant's address was that they say marriage has to change you, right? We've all heard people say marriage changes you, marriage changes everything. And I won't go into my sister's love story, but gave a brief recap of it. And after really internalizing and thinking through everything that they went through to get to where they are, one of my main messages was, don't change a thing. And it's interesting because in so many of our relationships, when we first meet, when we first come together, like, everything's perfect, right? You get fire, you got that feeling. We really, truly appreciate, right, value each other, right, one another. And we show that in so many different ways. right? We go out of our way, above and beyond. We do things to show our appreciation and our gratitude and our love. And that creates that attraction, that brings, right, relationships together. And so often, and this was in the conversation or context of marriage or partnership or relationships. So often we start with such a tremendous amount of value for one another, and over time, it gets harder to keep that same level of value on a day-to-day. And I want to talk about how that relates not just to our loved ones and not just to our significant others, although there's definitely a lesson there, but how that relates to a lot of our relationships, a lot of our partnerships, and even relates to the things that maybe we do every single day. So when I talk about value, right, I'm talking about, the value of maybe the relationship you're in right now, right? How was that when you first started seeing each other, first started dating, and how would you compare that level of value to where it is today? But it extends beyond just our personal relationships, our partnerships, our significant others, right? I think the same thing is true when it comes to our close friends, our family members. You see, we battle what's called the Law of Familiarity. Have you guys heard of this before? The Law of Familiarity says that the more familiar we become with something or someone, the less value we tend to put on it. And it's so sad if you really think about it, but it's so true if we're honest with ourselves, that the closer we become, the more familiar we become, the more time that goes by, the more proximity we have, right? The more used to it we get, the less value we tend to have. It shouldn't be that way. Like, it shouldn't be the case, but I'm sure if we're all honest with ourselves, we're willing to admit that that's true. And that's true with our significant others, right? That's true with sometimes the people that are closest to us. How often do we have, friends that are always there, right? The ones that you can turn to no matter what the situation, the ones you can always show up, be yourself, let your guard down, seek counsel, and they'll pick up the phone or they'll show up. And yet those are the people that over time we tend maybe to not appreciate or not put the time or energy into that we should. Same can be true of our family members. Take a seat. In a lot of the relationships that are most important to us and closest to us. And I think it goes beyond just people, beyond just our relationships, although I'll put, I think, relationships at the top of our priority list of the things that we can and should always be readjusting the value, right? Reassessing the value, rebuilding the value that we have for them, because they are the most important things in our life. Relationships amplify our life. We've had a lot of conversations, right, in our walks together on the importance of relationships when it comes to our health, when it comes to our happiness. And I think I'll add today's conversation to some of those previous, that in order to maintain those and have the best relationships in our life, we have to make sure we maintain the value, right, we have for them and for one another. But I think it also extends beyond just relationships, right? I think it also extends to what we do every day when it comes to our work or our livelihood or our income, what you want to call, your career. I know most of you listening today, you're probably an entrepreneur, right? A micro-entrepreneur, running your own, business, right? Or micro-enterprise. And I think the same message can be true with what we do every day. When we start something, right, brand new, we tend to value it, right? Our excitement level is through the charts, right? We are so excited about the opportunity. We're grateful for what we have. We're able to see the impact that whatever it is you found had on your own life. And we get so excited to share that gift, right? Share that feeling with those around us. And that's an energy that can be felt because that value you have is so high. It can be felt. It can be transferred. And a lot of times when you begin something, that's what creates an initial activation. It's what creates an initial momentum. It's what creates a beginning, right? A start, a launch. It's because of the value that you have on it and that value that you are transferring, right, through your conversation, through your energy, through your passion to other people. And for those of you that have ever started something new and had it get some traction, you know what I'm saying is the truth. It's because at the end of the day, you valued it so much, not just for yourself, but what you believed it could do for others, that you passionately conveyed that message. And because you believed it, it worked. But that law of familiarity, the same thing that's true of our loved ones and our relationships, that same thing happens even in our profession, right? Even in our vocation, that the more familiar it becomes, the lower the value we tend to assign. And again, it shouldn't be that way. These are the things maybe that put food on your table, that pay for the things that you have, the things that you're able to do, right? It is the vessel, the opportunity, right, that allows you to have the life you have today. It should be the highest thing on our value list. But that law of familiarity kicks in. And so I think this concept of value is such an important one, because the things that are most important to us, the people that are most important, the work that is most important, the business or vehicle or income that is most important, is something we should always be checking with ourselves, looking inward and reestablishing that value that we truly have. And that starts with just awareness, right? It starts with maybe just this conversation might spark a thought saying, you know, right? Like I haven't done a date night with my significant other for a while. I'm going to book that on Friday, right? Or, you know what? I haven't really cleared an evening to hang out with, my family or my close friends and just catch up. I'm going to do that right now, right? Or, you know what? Like, you're right. I've been taking my work or my business for granted, right? I've let it kind of fall into a routine or fall into, right, a monotony. And I need to reassess, right, the value that I want to put on it. And maybe just a conversation, a level of consciousness might make a shift for you. But for those of you that might be saying, well, okay, Blake, I get it. But, can you ever really go back? How do you reestablish that value? A couple thoughts, right, that I want to give to all of you on maybe if you're in a place with a person or a business or something that you want to re-level set. I'll give you 3 thoughts on maybe how to shift that perspective. How do you fight the law of familiarity? The first thought is I would try to go back to the first time, right, it began, right? If the you of today were to walk right back into your partner, right, to your friend, to your family member, to your business, and it was a brand new relationship today, what would it mean? How would it make you feel? Where would your excitement level be at? What type of value would you put on it if, right, even the you of today walked in and it was a brand new introduction? And if that's you, that same person, right, were to treat it that way and feel that way on the very first day, well then, guys, the value should be the same, if not greater, right, than the very first day because of everything it's done for you, right, since that point. And sometimes just a matter of a perspective shift, a point of view shift on saying, you know what, I'm going to go back to, wow, how did I feel when it was day one? And if it were the first day one again today, would I feel that same way? Might be a first conversation you have with yourself. If you want to go a little bit deeper than that, right? Maybe you start looking around you. You see, sometimes we can get so familiar with ourselves that we forget how valuable that person or that thing truly is. And sometimes it just takes looking through the eyes of another person who values them, right, or that today. Who would the people around you, right? Someone that maybe, right, you don't know, someone that met your partner, someone that met your friends, someone that met your family member, someone that had your business or your opportunity today, someone brand new, right? That wasn't you, that was able to walk in and have access that you have what you have. How much would they value that person or that thing? You guys, sometimes it's taking it out of our own vantage point and looking at it through somebody else's eyes, right? And how much they would love and appreciate the relationship you have, right? The friendship you have, the family connection you have, the opportunity you have, the business you have, the gift that you have, the timing that you have. Someone brand new, maybe someone brand new that wasn't as fortunate to have everything you have right now. How would they walk in and accept? What type of gratitude or appreciation would they have? What type of value would they put on that relationship or that opportunity? And if they're putting that type of value on it, why can't you? Why shouldn't you have that type of value? So sometimes if it's not looking at it through our own eyes or even our fresh eyes, sometimes it's shifting the perspective and looking at it through somebody else's eyes and realizing, wow, the value really is there to fight that law of familiarity. And then the last thought is, well, what would happen and how would you feel if that was taken away? If that person was gone tomorrow? If that relationship was gone tomorrow? If that business or that job or that work or that career or that opportunity was gone tomorrow? You see, sometimes you have to put yourself in a place where it's taken away in order to get jolted, in order to get woken up, in order to reset and appreciate the value that you really have. One of my favorite lessons I was ever taught by a mentor, he said, Blake, you got to value what you have or it will be taken away. And he gave me that lesson more from a spiritual perspective of look, if you don't appreciate and you're not grateful for the people that are in your life, for the things that are in your life, for the opportunity that are in your life, then call it God, call it the universe, call it whatever your belief defines it as. Why would it keep giving if every time it gives, you don't appreciate? So value what you have, appreciate what you have, be grateful for what you have, or it'll be taken away. And I give you that lesson here because, again, you want to reestablish a value line. You don't have to get to a point where it's gone, right? It is no more for you to wake up. Just ask yourself the question, what happens if you woke up tomorrow and that person was gone? That connection was gone, that relationship was gone, that opportunity was gone. How would you feel? And if the value you put on it today was the thing that kept it here, I'll say that again. If the value you put on it today was the thing that kept it here, the thing that determined if it would stay, how much value would you put on it today? You guys see, value is a funny thing. Value is everything. But at the end of the day, value is completely a choice. It is a perception. It is a perspective. It is entirely a meaning that we choose to give it in everything and everyone. And if we're in a place right now where we're not valuing the relationships in our life, we got to take ownership over that. Have a little wake-up call, create the shift, find the perspective, the new you perspective, the other person perspective, the what if it were gone perspective, whatever one or all that work for you to reestablish that value in your life. Because guys, the value that you assign, that's the value that it has. And we can't let the law of familiarity, just the fact that it's here and we have it, lower the value that it really truly does have and should continue to have in our lives every single day. I mean, you think about it, what is valuable? Valuable. Valuable. Able to create value. Because we determine what's valuable by our ability to assign or give and continue to re-give value to them and to it in our life every single day. Oh, and here's the thing. The value that we give it and we really believe, well, that's going to determine the value when we share that person, right, or that thing to others. If we value it, that value gets transferred, that value gets felt. For those of you guys that are entrepreneurs out there, behind a mission, behind a movement right now, understand that if you want others to value it, it has to start with the value that you give it, right, when you're sharing. So that's my thought, a little inspired by a conversation with my sister and family this past weekend, talking about relationships and how you got to keep doing the things that brought you together to keep you together and have you keep growing together. And at the core, the essence, the spirit of all of that is just valuing what you have and not changing, keeping that value and growing that value over time. And I think it's something we all can apply to our relationships. Those closest to us, right? Those the most meaningful to us, and the things that are most meaningful to us when it comes to what we do every single day. Until the next time we walk together, hope you guys have an amazing week. And here's to, hey, being valuable, able to create value in the things that matter. Take care, everybody. Hey guys, one last thing. I'm super excited that this new podcast, Alive by Design, just went live. You see, I designed the show to bring you inspired thoughts and fascinating conversations with the world's most impactful people, to provide transformative principles and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. And I'd love for you to help me spread the word now. Simply subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on this platform right now. So if I've ever given you value, please do me this personal favor and go subscribe now. And if you found today's episode helpful in any way, make sure you share this with at least one friend today. You have the power right now to change someone's day. So send them a text message with a link to alivebydesign.com, or simply copy and paste the link right from this podcast platform. Who's one person you know right now that you want to see succeed, that you want to see grow, that you want to see feel more alive? Shoot them a text with your largest takeaway from today and be a light in their day. And if you were referred here by a friend, make sure you shoot them a text back and say thank you. I'd love to hear from you directly on what you got from today's podcast. So if you're up for it, drop by my Instagram @BlakeMallon and shoot me a DM. And as always, thank you for showing up. I'm grateful for you, and I hope our time together today in some small way helped you feel a little more alive. Until next time.